All right. Okay, so as we sit here and get our minds peaceful and understand that we're vibing with each other, our minds are collective and they're connected in every single way. Everything that we think of here gets materialized into the universe and then back onto us. So we always have to think positively as much as we can. Now, a lot of people, whether you know it or not, we all have dealt with some form of childhood trauma. Now, people can say, I come from a perfect family, everything was great, but there was always something about it. Maybe you felt like the black sheep. Maybe you felt like you didn't fit in. Maybe you felt like everyone in the family always judged you. Or if you did something, everybody was on top of you. You were always being controlled by everyone. There's so many different forms of childhood trauma that I can explain to you because I've experienced pretty much every form of them. And it took a lot of shadow work for me to forgive and to move forward, because the childhood trauma that we come into, we feel sorry for ourselves, we get upset with our parents, and that's okay. That's okay. But we also have to understand that everything that we've gone through, when we signed our contract, our soul's contract, to be in these families, to have these friends, to have these relationships, we did it for a reason. There was a form of our past lives or a form of ourselves that we needed to examine deeply. Therefore, we got put into situations that are not the most pleasant. They couldn't be the greatest, but at the end of the day, they helped us grow as the person that we are today. So everybody's trying to do their best. I know everybody's not perfect, but that's where we have to learn to forgive. Like it's like you have to forgive your brothers, your sister, your mom, your uncles, your aunts, everyone, no matter what, whether it's been, like, so I'm going to talk about a sensitive topic today. And I'm asking spirit guides and angels to give me the strength and give me the courage to say things without feeling like I have to be careful about what I say, because I want us to be able to really talk about this, because when people watch this, it can help a lot of people, or with our words, it can also destroy people. So we have to be very cautious of what we say. So the most important thing that I want to just read this to you real quick. Trauma generates emotions, and unless we trauma generates emotions. And unless we process these emotions at the time the trauma occurs, they become stuck in our mind and body. Instead of healing from the wound event, the trauma stays in our body as energy in our unconscious, affecting our life until we uncover it and process it out. The healthy flow and processing of distressing emotions such as anger, sadness, shame, and fear is essential to healing from childhood trauma as an adult. Why is this important? I'm going to quickly say a few things, and then everybody's going to be open. I want everybody to chime in, because this is why I'm doing this, so we can all speak of our experiences. When I was younger, I'm just going to say my story, and everybody could share theirs. Quick 5 minutes, a couple of minutes, whatever. When I was younger, I'm unsure of a situation where I believe that I was raped at the age of 8, because I had a vision that I was in the bathtub and I was asking my mom to assist me while I was bleeding from my personal area. So when I got 17 or 18 years old, I started experiencing things. I didn't want to have sex. I didn't want guys to touch me. I didn't want them to come near me. Then I thought I was gay for a while. Like, I am bisexual, however, but because of what happened, it caused me to not want to have men touching me. If they touched me, I felt uncomfortable, and I didn't know why, right? So one day I stopped and I told my mom, I go, Mom, remember that time we were in Albania and I rode the bike, the regular bike up the hill, and then I came home and I was like, Mom, I'm bleeding from down there. And you were like, why? And then I was like, because I hit myself on the bike. And she looked at me and goes, that never happened. I was like, wait, what? What do you mean? Yes, it did. I remember being in a bathtub, bleeding from down there and crying, going, somebody help me. And you came in and helped me. She goes, Lena, it never happened. So now, how do some people deal with traumas? I've learned this very clearly, is that we pretend, we soften the trauma. So if a husband abused you, whether it be, listen, all abuse is vital. Like, I mean, it's valid. All your feelings are valid. I don't care if they yelled at you in your face all the time and everybody's like, oh, you couldn't deal with yelling. Listen, that's trauma to some people. Some people get traumatized when somebody tells them they're stupid, they're ugly. This is why bullies fuck people up for the rest of their lives. You understand? Nobody's trauma is less than the other person's. Everyone's feelings are valid. That's the thing you gotta understand. No matter how small or big it might seem to you, to that person, it might be an explosion in their mind. So now when I look back at that and I go, I wonder why this happened. I know why. It's because my mind and my spirit was trying to make the situation easier for me to deal with. Because whatever happened afterwards, I dealt with it myself. Nobody knew about it. And I felt like if I have my mom in there, in my vision, oh, it's easier. She knew about it. Everything's good. But when I grew up and got older, it smacked me in the face when I started to see that I was having problems in relationships, even friendships. I didn't trust people. I would remember being alone with older men and being terrified and running out of the room because I thought they were all there to like hurt me. You know what I mean? And it's why I never had a normal relationship with a man. Never. So everyone has different stories. So my story is that that happened to me when I was younger. I also had a couple of guy cousins. You know how it is when kids are kids. They don't, they're experimented. But to me, it was a big deal because the things that happen still stick with me today. So therefore, I'm afraid to let my daughter go places. I'm afraid to trust anybody. I'm afraid to, when she's at her dad's, I'm like, make sure your friends are not around her because your own family can do that to you, right? So those are fears that I had to let go of. And I'm just going to say one more thing. I want to open it and I want to see if anybody else has a story or anything they want to share. Be open. Don't be afraid because your story can change a lifetime of people, okay? So like another thing I'll say, and then I'll leave it at that, is when you're doing shadow work, when I tell people like do the meditations, do the shadow work, even if you're not talking about sexual abuse, you're not talking about that, seeing your parents fight and you don't remember, seeing something. Hey, one time walking into the room with your parents and they're having sex, that forever can fuck up your vision of sex, right? So like people have different ways of dealing with shit. But like one thing when I did the shadow work, how I knew I was getting over it, I started to have dreams. Like I asked my angels and my spirit guides to show me what I need to heal. And I told Sadie this very important dream that I had where a man was in a bathtub and it looked like hell. Like the place was like hellish, you know what I mean? It was dark and hot and steamy and I'm walking in. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this because this is what shadow work is. It can be tough, but to experience it and go through it, it will be better than to hold it on to you forever because that's why people become drug addicts. That's why people become prostitutes. That's why so many people become people that are there not because of what happened to them when they were younger. So many. So that's why I will never judge nobody because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know. You have no clue. Okay, so in the dream, the guy was in the bathtub. 2 nights after I prayed, please, God, show me what I need to release. Help me discover. Tell me what I need to just let go of. I want to be better. I want to feel better. I wanted to get better. I was in so much pain that I would sit in the bathtub and just like, for hours cry and people knock on the door. I'm like, leave me alone. Like, it's just like, this is the kind of pain I went through. It was like that. I know we've all went through that at least once where we just didn't want to continue. It was like, why am I here? For what reason? So discovering that takes very much balls. It takes courage. That's why I'm saying to you, if you're going to do the shadow work, ask to be shown the thing that bothers you the most. When you're meditating, please, this is how we have a spiritual awakening. This is how we discover who we are. This is how we find out our strength. This is how we become stronger, by asking to see the things that we are most afraid of. If a person's afraid of a roller coaster, the only way they'll get over that fear is to get on it, realize it wasn't that bad, enjoyed it, and go, wow, that wasn't even that bad, right? So your fears are the most important thing to look at. Well, even if you have a fear of relationships, a fear of commitment, which I have, a fear of friends, like you have any type of fear, step it, whatever it is. In that dream, the 2 days after I prayed and meditated for 2 days straight, please, 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 I went into like a hellish type of place. A man was in a bathtub. He had a baby in his hand like this at first, and it looked innocent at first, but then he took the child and he put it down to like give him oral sex. I have to say it. I saw it and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I went and grabbed the baby from the water, but the baby died in my arms. It was dead. He had drowned it by the time I got the baby. And then I just let the baby back into the water. I looked at him and I was like, you know what? You're not even fucking worth it. You're not even worth it. And he smiled. He went, yeah, bitch, like, fuck you, you know? And the baby went through the thing. I grabbed the baby and held it in my arms and I just put it to sleep. Like I closed its eyes and put it to sleep. That was, for me, my shadow work. I saw the death, my childhood, die in my arms. That is no longer there. You can't blame yourself for these people. Do you see how he smiled at me in the dream? That's another telltale sign of angels and spirit guides telling you, honey, you can't change other people. They're going to get their karma no matter what. But you have to do what you have to do for you. These men that we dealt with, why did we date men that were abusive, aggressive, and all that? Why? Because we're stupid and that's what we like? No. See, whether you're whoever you are, when you attract people, certain people, it stems so much from what you don't even know you're used to as a child. There might be like, you might have had a father who was very aggressive and like, you know, like controlling. And then you get a man and you think, oh, he reminds me of my father, right? Just like a man will meet someone like his mother and then she becomes like, where are you at? Yeah, that's how your mom is. It's like you don't know you're attracted to the same things that you were unattracted to growing up, right? It's just a way of life. It's just the way it is. So anyone out there who's dealing with any type of childhood trauma, no matter what it is, all of them are valid. I want you to say, whatever you feel, and let's examine today how you think your childhood affected your relationships, your friendships, everything. Just examine it, because when I examined it, I became much more secure in myself. I'm able to talk about it now without crying, because before I had to cry. So I want you guys to tell me what, if anybody wants to share their story, and then from there, open up the mics and whoever wants to speak.
So I think for me, it was more like I was overweight growing up. And when I hit 12, I was always big and my sister was always the pretty one. And I think that was like my fear, that I would never like lose the weight and I would never be pretty. So I would always date guys that would just, you know, look at me and be like, you know, you're so beautiful. And that would capture me like, oh yeah, thanks, you know? So it wasn't until after my son that my sister, he was like, you know, what's going on? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, you know, am I going to lose the weight? And she's like, you know, everybody has the same body. We all have the same body. It's about you working on what you want. And when she said that to me, these pictures that I posted, it's like I've been through a really dark area, like even with weight. I was like 220 pounds at one time. So that to me is, you know, a lot. So when people are like, you're so beautiful, you're a model, it took a lot, you know, for me to get here now as a mother. And even my son tells me, just live your life. You have to live your life. And he's 14. So for me, it's like, he's even telling me now, and I'm still scared of it. And I'm still scared. You know, every time I post a picture, it takes me like an hour to post a picture. I have to tell
and then Maria, real quick,
do I have to take the picture and like take an hour to? She's like, yo, just do what you want.
Is that your sister? Is that your sister?
Huh?
Is that your sister?
No. We grew up together.
I'm just gonna say, you see how we all, it's not to gas you up or nothing, but we all show you love in those pictures. Let me tell you something. It's perfect, beautiful. The fact that you worked on it gives me motivation to work on my body. So I love that you just shared that, because
it's just been a fear. It's for me too, that I would never do it. I would never get there. I was always 190, size 42, like, and I was like, you know, what is wrong with me? Is there something with me? And I would date like guys that didn't care about me, that would use me, take my beauty as like, you know what? I'm gonna treat you like this. I'm gonna do this to you.
Right.
And going forward, I think I still have that mindset, because when I date guys, I don't realize it's still there, you know? But even though I look, you know, even though you see me and you're like, oh, you're so beautiful, like, that's still, like, I still remember myself like that. And it's crazy. I get I'm going to share the picture so you guys can see for yourself. Like, I was in a really, like, bad place of mine. And overall, like, being a massage therapist and healing people and seeing I have a gift, that's explored me to just learn myself and my body and who I am. And, you know, that's just a childhood trauma I've had. Besides my family, like, splitting up, that was, like, something for me that I still fear it till today.
Well, I want to say, first of all, that's very important that you spoke on that, because like that's also, again, real quick, I'm just gonna chime in and then somebody else. I also went through that overweight stuff growing up. So I thought that acceptance from guys was I had to say yes to everything, because if not, I'm the chubby one, so I'm not the cute girl in the group, right? So all my friends were skinny, they were like, and I was the chubby one, you know what I mean? But I was still the pretty one, you know? So I understand that. So a lot of people go through that. So that's very important that you spoke of that. And that can affect every one of your relationships, because then you're looking for validation from everyone, as opposed to, this is why we're practicing self-love and finding your inner beauty, because once you love yourself internally, you will know when a man is toxic for you. The second he fucking walks in a room, you will smell that motherfucker from a mile away. You'll be like, toxic, toxic, toxic. You will know. The radar will be on motherfucking point. That's why I tell everybody in here, give yourself time.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. When that would come, I would tell myself, no, but that's where you're gonna get. Like you're gonna go through this, and I feel bad for him, and I want to help this, and but the knowledge is still that, like, I know I was feeling it. It was telling me, like, stay away, don't, with any relationship, like just karmic cycles in general, you know.
But also that's I'm just gonna tell you, that's a classic signs of a healer, a true healer. They attract broken people. So when you're a healer, whether you be a form of a massage therapist or a healer through your words, a healer through your hands, whatever it is, when we are those people, a form of human beings who are healers, which I feel a lot of people in here are, because we've been through the same karmic cycles, you're going to have that mentality, like but today it's like, if you don't see somebody walked in and the first thing they do is say to you, baby, are you all right? Do you need anything? And if you see, you gotta hope from the first date, this motherfucker can't put his right shoe on the right side. Walk, run fast, run for the hills, If you're not on a date with him as a female, I'm sorry, this is not, fuck that 2020 equal pop, fuck that. You're a female, you go on a date with a man, if he don't fucking say to you, you better not pull out that wallet. That's forever. You just know that you're going to be paying for shit. And do you want to do that again and again and again and again? Because I know 90%, I know 100% of us in here are like that. I got it. No, I got it. No, we don't got it. We really don't got it, though. Because when we got us getting it all the time is what led us to being fucked up in the head, because we're feeling used at the end of the day. Now you're draining me. It's not about me being a gold digger. I can handle my own. I'm independent. Shit, my fucking name is Miss Independent, but that's not the point. The point is, I'm not gonna let people come into my life because of the damage that people who. One more thing, I'm gonna let somebody else come in. People who are, believe it or not, energy vampires, bad people, everyone in here, this is very important. They can smell a vulnerable person. It's like a child molester that goes out and stalks their victim. They look for the person with their head down, that's walking shy and scared. They don't go after someone who walks down the street like, they don't need that type of problem. You understand? It's the same thing with abusive people and controlling men. They won't go after a girl like let's say, for instance, if I come after them like, this girl, she's gonna give me mad fucking issues. I can't deal with it. They don't want that. They don't want to fight. If they wanted to fight, they wouldn't date people that are more vulnerable than them, so they could beat them down in any form or fashion. So I want you guys to see, when you walk with your head held high, you love yourself. You love yourself in all your roles and all your dots on your legs and all your fat, whatever.
Everything. Yeah.
All my gray hair. Like, I post shit on Instagram and people are like, they'll hit me up like, yo, why didn't you just do your hair like my family or something? I'll be like, bitch, if I wanted to be famous for being fake, I would have done it a long time ago. They're going to deal with my gray hair. They're going to deal with my skin, and that's just it. You understand? Because, at the end of the day, I'm accepting of myself. And I want you guys all to be accepting of yourselves. I'm very proud of you to share that. And I want us to share a lot with this, because when people watch it, I want them to get a lot out of it. So anybody else want to talk? Thank you, Maria, for sharing. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Maria.
I know for me, I'm sorry. Hi, guys. This is probably your first time seeing me. And can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I know for me, my childhood trauma came from trying to get validation and commitment at a young age. Like when I was very young, I knew I was very different from everybody else. And I never really made childhood friends because each year I would move to a different house. Me, my mother, and my brother would move, so I had to go to a different school. But when I kind of figured out who I was and figured out I was gay, I
Yeah.
kind of came out earlier than expected because
Right.
I kind of thought I didn't think it would be so negative, and so I came out in 6th grade, and I didn't really have a lot of friends, so I just thought, let me just go on Google how to make gay friends, and it
Oh.
basically opened me up to a world of gay dating sites. And
Oh wow.
me being a little thicker when I was younger, I kind of didn't really target people that were young. I kind of targeted older people. And on also a strength, my mother worked so much, and my brother, he was extremely bad, and I got good grades, and I came off as a very obedient child. So my mother would have never expected me to try to indulge in that. But in short, it just led me to losing my virginity at a young age to a man who we would talk on the phone, and he would preach sermons to me, and I met him on this dating site called Jack. And once we first met up, he wanted to have sex, and when I was young, and I think this is what I battled with first, I made the choice, but still, I think it negatively affects me till this day because I had more sex than a typical person from between the ages of 12 to 18 would have, even to the point where when I was 15 years old, I had caught an STD from a man. And instead of my mother kind of nurturing me, she was like, well, you're just going to have to leave school early and get on the bus and go to the health department. And so just dealing with those traumatic memories kind of traumatizes me to this day. And it kind of makes me think about if I would have never made that decision and why I was searching for that validation. And it's funny that you said when you're doing your shadow work that you have dreams, because I started my shadow work at the beginning of this month, and that's why I don't know if anybody saw me crying, but that's why I kind of feel like I'm supposed to be here, because I was doing shadow work and I felt like I was done, but then I would have these really strange dreams, and I would wake up enraged. I would wake up enraged and like, why the fuck am I having this dream? Like, why the fuck is this coming to my mind? But that just showed me that I really wasn't done.
Nope.
And I really just have to really just sit and hug a lot of my shadows that I do have.
Oh my, everybody, put your motherfucking hands together for that comment. No. I'm gonna tell you why. I speak to spirit all the time, whether it be in dreams, through messages, whatever it is, however they don't talk to me literally. They're not in my ear. I'm not, I'm not at that level, but I hear it in my mind's eye. I'll see a vision while I'm laying down. Let me tell you the number one thing they always tell me. Guilt is the one thing that's keeping us humans in our own shit. Guilt is a problem for us all. Feeling guilty about the things that you did, feeling guilty is the number one thing we have to stop doing. Because what we did, it didn't happen to us. It happened for us, number one. Number two, when we do the shadow work, that's showing us this is the side of you that you are thinking badly about yourself. Nobody is making you feel that way. Right, Terry? Yes. Nobody's making you feel that way. It's you. Because look, you guys weren't here. I'm going to quickly tell the story. I have to. There's a guy, blah, blah, blah. He has a dream, right? A demon chases him every night in that dream. It chases him. And the Buddha says to him, why don't you approach the demon and ask him why he's chasing you? So one night he says to the demon, in the dream, the demon's chasing him, and he stops and he goes, excuse me, why are you chasing me? And the demon goes, I don't know, it's your dream. Get it?
Ooh.
So he's telling him, I'm not creating myself. You're the one who's making me your demon. You just brought me to life. So all of that pain that you're feeling, all the guilt, listen, most 90% of us, when we go through this shit, who do we blame? Ourselves. Okay. Oh, it's my fault I'm gay. Oh, it's my fault I'm bisexual. It's my fault I was born in a Muslim household and nobody understands me. I went through it. I'm fucking born in a Muslim Albanian household out of all things. When I was like, I'm bisexual, everybody was like, get out. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. You know, there's no consoling. But at the end of the day, I stood by what I believed in. I stood by the fact that I knew that I was going through something. I was learning myself. And no matter what, you need to understand, I went through that same shit where, with sex and stuff, I went through a period of my life where I was, I would purposely meet up with random people. I didn't want connections. That was what it was. It wasn't about wanting to have random sex with people because I'm a whore. It was because I didn't want to get to know them. I was like, just give me dick and leave. Bye. I'll see you later. And that's funny at the time. It was like, I thought I was cool, but I realize now why I was doing that is because I was so hurt from all the shit that I went through that I needed some form of validation within myself, and that's what I was doing, using sexual experiences, having people love me because of sex or because I'm pretty or because I'm on TV. All of those things were a form of my own validation. So you need to let go of that guilt and forgive yourself. Number one, everyone in here, forgiving yourself will make you a better person, because you cannot in any form or fashion forgive anyone else if you don't forgive yourself for the pain you caused yourself. Because really, in all of your fucking thoughts and mentalities, we cause our own pain. Nobody is our mind saying be sad, be sad, be sad. We do that. Oh, that's bad. So when you're meditating, the shadow work, like you said, hugging your shadow side, every spiritual whatever person who's advanced, they know you don't have to ignore the bad side of you. Actually, thank it for teaching you, for becoming the person that you are today. You use those demons to become the strong person, because at the end of the day, if you're going to talk to someone else, how would you be able to say what you're feeling if you haven't experienced that dark side yourself? You know what I'm saying? You have to go through something to be a better person in life. You can't. None of us, like everybody who struggled growing up, become the most loyal, real best people in the world, right? Those people who are born with a silver spoon up their ass, forget about their mouth, they don't even know how to have a normal conversation with somebody, bro. You feel me? So just understand that shadow work, hugging the shadow, saying thank you. This is how I do. I imagine myself being in the other dimension and hugging my shadow self and going, I want to thank you for all of the lessons you taught me, for making me the strong person I am today. Without you, I would not be half the person I am today. Okay? So thank you for that. I love you. Thank you for sharing that, Sophie. That was beautiful. Thank you. That was perfect. I love the shadow. Oh my God. Forget it. That was amazing. Okay. Anybody else? Who else wants to chime in?
Oh, Vanessa. Hey.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hey. So I think mostly it was like acceptance. I do relate to the weight thing. I've been struggling with it all my life. So and I'm still struggling with it. So that's a whole self-esteem thing that it creates. And then acceptance, probably from on my dad's side. I had some not me, but he had substance abuse issues. So bad that at one point I had to call the police on him for my mom. I ended up getting him arrested.
How old were you?
This was actually later. This was later in life, but he was, it was different varying stages.
Yeah.
So it went from like coke, I think he was doing, to like weed and probably some other shit, and then it traveled into alcoholism.
Right.
Which, and I just never felt like accepted by him. Currently, he doesn't talk to me. That's his choice, not mine. But
is he sober today, or if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know. He did some stuff, took some money, and moved to Indiana.
Wow.
There's a lot of backstory, but I'm not going to clog it up with that. But so currently, he doesn't even know I have a kid. Like, so. But then I saw the same patterns when I was with my ex, and he started drinking and like abusively drinking and stuff. He's hopefully not in that place anymore, obviously, but I kind of saw it and I was like, wait, what, this is not what I want. So, I don't know. So I think it's more of an acceptance of like, my father figure, and same deal, a little bit of self-doubt, and yeah, just I think that's where I relate back to like picking the people that possibly aren't, and I'm a fixer. Like, I don't know why, but instead of being like, oh, this guy has like issues, I'm like, oh, let me make you a cup of tea. Like, let me give you a tea too.
That's very important, because a lot of us, okay, so like that's very important that you share that, because a lot of us dealt with alcoholic parents or family members that were abusive and stuff like that. And that does immediately lead you to grow up and wanting acceptance from men, because not only that, you want to help them, because, okay, so like anybody in here has ever dealt with someone going through something, you want to help them, and no matter what you did for them, it's not going to work. It's like, I put it as, chalk it up to, Gina knows we've had this conversation, I chalk it up to, if there's an addict and they're doing drugs and they're constantly on that shit, and you're like, oh, I can send you to rehab, I'll help you. No, you won't. Until that person looks in the mirror and says, I'm ready to stop. Nothing you can do to stop them. That will, listen, you could be, God can't even stop them. Come on now. Like, it's like, come on. God,
that's a fact.
God's sending his angels, his friends, everything to try to help them, spirit guides. But until that person is ready to let go of that path, that's why I want you, Vanessa, because especially the way you are, when I get this feeling of like, you're the type, if someone comes over your house and they like your shirt, you'll be like, oh, you can have it here. Yeah. That's how I see you. And so, like, and that's okay to be like that with some people, right? Because you want to treat some friends good because they treat you good. But when we do that to just anyone, not because we want, it's sometimes not even, see, subconsciously, unconsciously, we don't know that we're doing it to be accepted, right? But subconsciously, our mind is telling us, yeah, you need to be accepted, so give her that shirt, because then she won't like you later on. You know what I mean? So it's like very important that you examine what it is. See, when you go into a relationship, guys, what she said, examine what it is, what your weight, your this, your that. If someone triggers that part of you, they gotta go. They have to go. It's like when there's a team of basketball players, if one of them's the weak link, they bench them. They're not trying to be mean, but it's like, we got to win this game. Think of your subconscious as a basketball team, and always put your star players up. The one that's weak at that point, push them to the side.
I know what I personally struggle with, like, because I made these recognitions, I realized that obviously 8 years late, but, I made these recognitions and whatnot. And I think what I struggle with as far as like dating or, being with someone or whatever is I'm trying to be open to new people. I'm trying to embrace them and how they are, because they're not going to be the same people. But at the same time, I have like a little self-doubt, and I'm like, oh, my brain's like, oh, wait, this is kind of like,
it's different.
He didn't talk to me all day yesterday or whatever. This is kind of reacting the way, 3 people ago or whatever. It's trying to relate it back, and I have to keep breaking it.
You have to separate them. And also, like, you ever try to date someone who's not your type, right? Anybody in here?
I have.
Try to date someone who's not your type, and they're good for you. They treat you nice. They're kind to you.
And you hate it.
Something in your brain makes you not like it. Not because this person's not good for you, but your brain's telling you, oh, no, go back to those people that you were with before. They were better. You know who they are. It's like we're familiar with them. We know how to handle them. See, so we even know how to handle the trauma. It's easier for us than when somebody comes in and is nice to us. We don't know how to act. We're like idiots running around with chickens like, oh, I don't know. He's so nice. He's weird. He opened the door for me. I don't understand this shit. Like, oh, no, you don't understand. And that's why you have to get your brain, your body, your mind, your spirit familiar to being treated like the goddess that you are, or God that you are. Because we all have a form of God within us, okay? Every one of us is a form of God. We were made from his image or her image or whatever. So you have to see yourself as that person. This way, when you attract people, you'll attract what you're vibing out, what you're letting out. Because you will attract, your energy will attract what you're letting out. So we have to start letting out the good energy and thinking, I want somebody to open the doors for me. I want a man to buy me flowers for no reason. I want a woman to treat me like queen. I want, you know what I'm saying? Gay, street, whatever. You got to be treated good. Romance is beautiful. Love is good. You're feeling like you got to run from this person from the get. Yo, that's your intuition. Intuition and your instincts, okay? Your instincts, we got fight or flight, right? So when you meet somebody, it's like, and they come and they like put the stance up like that. It's either fight or flight, right? So if you decide to stand there and fight, you're going against your intuition. When you're saying run, use that flight instinct. That's your body telling you gotta go. This person's not for you, right? So thank you, Vanessa, for sharing. That was beautiful. I love you guys. Thank you for opening up. It's amazing because people are going to watch this. They can relate to all our stories. So who's got another story? Snooki smiling like that.
May I go?
Who's next?
May I go?
Harry?
You can.
Yeah. This is my first time actually joining. So,
Hey,
hello,
Harry.
ladies.
Hi.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, so I always knew, like, I was always, like,
Let it out. Let it out.
I was, like, two steps ahead. So, like, I've always been, like, really smart in school, always reading when I was little. And as far as, like, my life, I would say, like, I'm blessed to have three parents, stepmother, who I adore, and my biological parents. But my father, he was, like, you know, like, abusive. There was a lot of fights in my life growing up that I've seen within the household. So, of course, like, you know, I didn't really fight in school, but, like, you know, I definitely have, like, a lot of, like, stuff I saw as far as, like, there's even a scar from my father that I'm still healing on my face or whatever. My mother, I would say that she was, like, very religious and didn't, like, accept me for being gay once I came out at 16. And my father then as well. My stepmother and I pretty much have always been good for the most part. I would say that when it comes to men, I definitely, well, first of all, before we can get there, with the women in my life, I definitely didn't trust women in a sense as far as dating them, but I would, like, always knew that I would attract women into my life easy because I know, like, your beliefs are what you see on the screen of your life. So, like, if I put out that I don't have a good relationship with men, and that started in, like, elementary school, so that translated well into now. I'm 23 now. And when it came to gentlemen, it was more so, like, since I had a bad relationship with my father, I definitely, like, dated older man. I had a sugar daddy. There was a married man. Like, you know, I did a lot for 5 years. I've been active.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's more so, like, my, like, need for the external validation, which is, of course, fine because I feel like I am a healer because I'm always like, all right, my doctor field and my friends, like, always fun. I feel like you go through all this stuff and then you have the moment in time where you just sit back and actually reflect because the world is always a mirror anyway, showing what you currently believe. And if it's something that you don't like, then that's something that you need to change. And the more that you deny something, the more that it's actually going to show up even more. It's like, you sure? Because this is exactly what you need to believe. So, you know, I've definitely been, like, obsessed with a positive connotation about the subconscious mind and how the mind works and how the universe works and that. And everything is energy. So, you know,
That's right.
I definitely accept everybody for who they are and what they are because at the end of the day, yes, we are in God's image. So you see people for who they are, even if it's not what you want. You always look. You had an inner feeling like you know the truth, and that's the truth. And we are all love. So
That's right.
And before I actually got into studying the law of attraction, when I started working at this restaurant, I worked in a couple. I'm a server, so food child, the unemployment during this time. But
It's a worker.
I met this gentleman, this Hispanic boy. He had said to me that the universe was all about attracting energy, and I was like, what? And he also, like, shook my hand and, like, looked me in my eye for 8 seconds, and I was, like, so gazing
You're like, what the hell?
So I, like, retracted, like, what are you talking about? And it's like so many synchronicities because I lost my virginity to somebody named Kiwan, and his name is Juan. He was born 5 days after me.
Whoa.
It's January 22nd. We're both Aquarius. It's like we both have a relationship with our father. It's a lot of synchronicities, but you know, he's definitely like pushed me to like become the best version of myself. And it's like no guy that I've ever like has ever like made me think about me. It's always, oh, what can I do for him? What can I do for you? Like, oh, I can do this the best. I can do this, but it's just like, but what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I've really taken so much time to worry about me, and know that me worrying about me is going to help everybody else love me unconditionally because I love myself unconditionally.
That's right. And that's funny that you said the law of attraction thing and how you see the symbols, the signs of the. I always tell everyone to pay very much attention that when you're doing something, these things, these signs that you're getting with people's birthdays coming at you, their signs or things like that. People don't pay attention to that. Like you'll be with somebody and you'll be like, wait, but when I was 8 years old, I knew somebody who was just like that, reminded me of them, but now he's treating me the same way as them. And these are the way the universe brings you back to what you really need. So you started to be aware of that, and that's very important that you were aware of that. And speaking of the religion and the gay stuff in the religion, that is very, very much a big thing a lot of people go through. Their parents are religious, and let me tell you something about religion. I love religion. I think it's beautiful. I love that everybody practices their religions. I was raised Muslim, right? But I'm going to tell you something right now. Being the person that I am and knowing when I go internally, I do know one thing. There's no way God made separate religions. If anyone made any separate things, it was probably someone who wants to see us fight and kill each other, right? So I'm just going to tell you, anyone out there who's struggling with religion and oh my God, but I'm being spiritual and I'm supposed to be religious, or I'm gay and I'm Catholic or whatever, I want you to understand something. Let that shit go, boo, because when you go to the other side, you're going to realize that religion is really not real. It's really not. It's God, loving yourself and all that stuff. But religion, like as far as separating ourselves from different religions, that's just something we created to feel like we're all a part of something and to follow along in footsteps and be good boys and girls, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay. That's okay, because it keeps a lot of people in line. Hell, yeah, it does. But at the end of the day, when we go to the other side, we're going to realize you go with the mentality of the people that you relate to. However, on this plane, I want you to understand, stop worrying about religion and what the Bible says, what the Quran says, because all in all, no matter what, remember, a man wrote that. God did not actually write them, okay? So they could say God came down, made him write this, made him that. But then that man edited, the other one changed the words, that one did this, that one did that. So you cannot, you're basically going with what they want you to go with. So go with what you feel internally, okay? I'm not saying nothing against religion. I love them all. I love every religion. But just go with what you feel internally, not with what you're taught, because that's called the slave mentality. Get out of that mentality. Free yourself, baby. Free yourself and think what you want to think internally here, not what everybody's telling you to think. Okay? Who else wants to share? Thank you, Tyree. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us. We appreciate that.
Of course.
I'll share.
Go ahead.
For me,
hi, Crystal. Nice to meet you. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
For me, I'll say dealing with family members with addiction, and it's since I was little, since I can remember, and it's just swept under the rug. There was no consequences for their actions.
Mm-hmm.
Even to this day, there's really no consequences. So things, money taken, cars, clothes, and I just look at like all the people that it affected for me, like my cousins, now that I'm thinking about it, we all have trust issues.
Yeah.
We all have how we deal with our anger issues. Because you're not taught how to deal with things. If someone takes something from you that you love and you trust, and it's swept under the rug, and you're just supposed to deal with it. It's like nobody talks about it the next day. It's just done. You know what I'm saying? And that shit is fucked up.
It is fucked up. It is.
And it's not even just about the stuff about stealing. It's like, where is the consequence? You taught me if you go to school, or you're taught if you take something from somebody,
Yeah.
You're supposed to be in trouble.
Yeah.
You're supposed to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you try to just so then you sweep it under the rug, and then it affects you in relationships, friendships, just in your everyday life, and it sucks because like, how do you deal with that? And then when you pop off and you're angry or you snap or whatever, then you're crazy. Oh, she's crazy. That's not her. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You to me, and I think that's why for me, when it comes to being loyal,
it's so important to you.
Yeah.
It's so important.
That's what I was saying. Like one day, if somebody, say me and you were together, me, you, and I, everybody in this group, somebody had millions of dollars just sitting out. For me, I'm not gonna touch it. It's not mine. You know what I'm saying? I just Or if somebody needs you, you know, you're always there. Yeah. So it affect you with that. So you want to fix things because you see that it's broken. You want to fix men. You want to fix your friends, but who looks out for you? Because you let people use you, vampires, and it sucks.
Right. Because
you're taught that when you're young, and then it affects you, and like there's no consequence. Where is the repercussions? Where is the? So now I feel bad because if you say something, then you're the bad guy.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, y'all.
But no, don't be sorry. No, JP, the fact that you
don't apologize.
Jasmine, the fact that you brought this up, first things first, I always like to throw in the little things there so everybody understands. If anyone dealt with family members that went through drug addiction or anything like that, you can always look into this company, like any program, but it's called Al-Anon. Al-Anon helps people whose families went through a person who had drug addiction. Now, if this person had drug addiction, they did all the stuff you were talking about. All that shit affects them big time. Your child steals from you. They go to your bank account. They steal money. They do this. They do that. That shit will affect everything. And that's another thing, Jasmine, because I went through some serious drug addiction shit to myself, right? But the thing is, you see how you're talking about that. I told you, remember that story I told you when I was in a hotel, I used to put like $80 on top, and I was the type of person, no matter what, if I didn't have the money for drugs, I just didn't do them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But other people, when they're so in that, this is why I'm going to tell you so you can learn to forgive and think of it this way, right? So, okay, I know. And this is what makes you the bigger person. By constantly telling yourself this, that person at that time, I know it's hard. That person at that time, they were not themselves. You're talking about the devil is literally inside of them, okay? So this person's dealing with demonic entities, and may that be in themselves or others. This person at that present moment, I have to forgive these people, those people that I was friends with, whatever, that did all this to me, the girl that I was dating that did all that to me. Yeah. Because I know when she was not on drugs, best person. When I was not on drugs, I was amazing. Best person. Look at me. Everything's perfect. But when you're on them, and I can say I didn't steal from people, but I would fight, I would scream, I would argue, I would destroy things, I would threaten to kill myself, stupid shit, right? It's like valid at that time because you're not in your right state of mind at all. So I want you to always think, when you think of these things and how they affect you, always remember, okay, so it's not my fault, number one. Number two, I have to forgive them and understand that they were going through something at that time. And if this person continues to do that while they're on drugs or not, or doesn't want to validate your feelings, because most of the time they don't want to validate them. They don't want to be like, yeah, I did do that. And like, see, it's like me. I'll be like,
they won't admit to doing anything.
Right. And it's okay because guess what, Jasmine, remember what I told you. That's why I'm so happy you talked about this, because anybody who's going through that, whether you were the one who did drugs or whether they were the ones who did drugs, I want you to forgive yourself first, because when what number one thing we're doing is we're holding on to grudges within ourselves, because we're looking at ourselves like, was I the bad person? Did I do something wrong? I should have said something. I shouldn't have enabled them. You know what I mean? It's like you feel like an enabler or something, but it's not you. It's not. And it's them. There's nothing you can do to make them work on themselves. Like I put that post. you can't change a person, but never underestimate the power of planting a seed. So plant that
Very
seed
good.
within yourself. Plant that seed within yourself so that you can grow as a person and understand. When you learn to let that shit go and forgive and move forward, you're gonna win in the end. It's gonna be you.
Look, I thought I did until I started crying. But yeah,
and look, this is why we do
to the point, I do forgive because I understand the addiction part.
Yeah.
It's just when you think about it, and I still see the patterns. They know not to play with me anymore. We don't even do that. But I still see things that they do, and I'm like,
it triggers you. It's called a trigger.
I don't do that. No,
that's called a trigger, Jasmine. So whether you did the drugs or not, you still get triggered by it, right? So it's like you might as well. It's like, okay, so I'm gonna validate your feelings. It's like you might as well have been the one doing the drugs yourself because you experienced everything they experienced, except for you didn't actually do the drugs. So you had all of the pain of it, but except for you weren't doing the drug. So they might as well just take you along to shoot up that dope or snip that coke because you are feeling everything anyway. You have to worry about them when they leave the house. Are they going to come back alive?
Watch your pockets. Yeah. Lock your door.
You can't sleep at night. You got to sleep with your book bag under your pillow. I understand. I've been to too many meetings, too many things not to understand this. It's very validated for anyone out there who's feeling this way. And that's why I need, so like my father died of a drug overdose is what I was what I hear of him doing. Like, right. I had to not only ask him to forgive himself because I know in death he's probably like, damn it, I fucked up, right? I don't know how it works, but at the end of the day, I had to sit and work on that part of myself. And what would happen is I would have dreams. I would have a lot of dreams of me being in hotels or like these dark places and people were doing drugs and I was paranoid. I was running around. So ask yourself to see that shadow side. Notice it. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna cry it out. Listen, bitch, you're gonna cry like a little, like ugly cry, like, like why? Well, why?
Yeah.
Yo, do that shit. Do that shit. Do that shit. I don't give a fuck how ugly, how much snot comes out of your nose.
Right.
You gotta have that shit.
Let it out.
Just have the tissue ready. My stomach hurts. Bitch, I don't care what you gotta do. You better sit there and I don't care if you have to shit it out, throw it up. I don't care. Just do it. Just do it. No, I'm telling you. Listen. Like I'm gonna explain something to you guys. Okay, I took a lot of Percocet, right? That's like opiates. When you withdraw from Percocet, what happens is you sweat, you can't sleep, your legs hurt, you're dreaming, you're throwing up, you're shitting, you're doing all this stuff. Now I'm gonna put a spiritual awakening. I'm gonna compare it a lot to that.
Okay.
It's like you're gonna go through like a week of ugliness, craziness, your hair, you're gonna feel like pimples coming, you can't fucking eat right, you can't sleep right. But when you get past it, you're like, what the fuck was I doing? Why? It's like almost like telling yourself, why am I still taking this drug of negativity? Release that drug of negativity like a withdrawal. Let it sweat out of you, let it burn out of you. Keep working at it. When it's finally over, you'll say, whoa, I didn't realize, I know it was painful, but damn, look at me now. You're gonna feel like a step further in healing. You understand? It's like a levels. So there's levels to this shit.
It is. I'm better. Well, yeah, because I used to be so angry. I'm like, with the wrong people though. Not toward, I'm not saying exactly them, but
that's how it usually works. That's how, you know why? Because you can't take it out on those people. So then you get people come at you. And like, for instance, like with men, like I said, with the sex thing, I'd be like, don't touch me there. I don't like that. Or because I remember as a young girl, this happened. And then I compared them to that. So that's why you have to heal that part of yourself. So this way that won't cause you trust issues when you're with the next person. You might even have paranoia of your son coming to your room. What you doing? What are you doing? What are you looking at? What are you looking for? You know what I mean? Like it's things like that will affect you.
Yep. It's paranoia. You're right. With trust, I don't trust him with anybody. He's 16.
I don't blame you. And I don't blame you.
No, we're not doing that.
Right. And you know what? That's okay. But that's why you have to do the shadow work. See, like now my daughter goes to her dad's and I'm like, okay, God protects her. If something God forbid, I know God's going to have my back. I know God is going to do what he needs to do with her and watch out for her. It's not her fault. She didn't do anything wrong. So at the end of the day, you learn to forgive and you learn to move forward, right? Work on the sacral chakra. That is something, the sacral chakra. something that's sacred to you, okay? It's sacred to you. Whatever's sacred to you, work on that, okay?
Okay.
I love
Thank you.
Can
I love you too.
I ask a quick
I think
question?
Misha wants to go next.
Okay, he wants to ask a quick question. And she can go. Go ahead, Ben.
Me, Sobo. I was gonna say, can you have issues with accepting and hugging certain shadows because of your age, like being too young?
Can you have issues? I mean, no, I actually think the sooner you work on it, the better. The sooner you work on something, the better it would be. However, it might be some things that from our age that spirit will ask us to go through it within levels, steps to it. So examining something that just happened to you would be better, because then you don't have to examine it later. You understand? That's why they say if you don't deal with the trauma when it happens, it comes back to bite you in the ass. So I would say whatever it is that you dealt with, I would try to deal with it as soon as possible. If you feel confident enough to do it. If you're not confident to, then don't. But I believe the faster you deal with it, later on you won't have those issues. You understand?
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, okay, so I've actually dealt with like 3 different situations. I've dealt with a mother on drugs.
Right.
I've dealt with my father abandoning me, and I've also dealt with molestation. Now, the one that I find myself like dealing with the worst is the abuse from my mom, because when she was on drugs, she literally, like, she was always kind of like in and out, like always gone or getting high or something like that. And then like she got with my stepdad, who's an alcoholic.
Right.
And it kind of turned her addiction from drugs to alcohol. And then with the two mixed, she turned into this person that I wasn't used to. And I remember at one point, she and my stepdad, they used to just like fist fight in front of me all the time, literally all the time. It was nonstop. And then it was one day where me and her were sitting in the room or whatever, and my stepdad was on the good when he was drunk. He was acting crazy or whatever, and he had kept bugging my mom. He called her fat. So he was like, fat, where's the beer or whatever? And she's all like, Carrie, leave me alone, stand third, blah, blah, blah. So he waits until my mom leaves the room to decide that he wants to question me about where is the beer and all this other kind of stuff. Me being young, knowing that I'm not supposed to say anything, I'm being pressured by my stepdad to, where's the beer, where's the beer? So anyway, I tell him where the beer at. I told him where the beer is at, and my mom ended up like flashing on me. And within flashing on me, I ended up with my nose bleeding and my lip was busted. And then on top of that, I also dealt with her calling me like stupid and retarded and you just like your fucking daddy, this, that, and the third. And so one time I was at my aunt's house or whatever, and I was sleeping on the couch because my cousin, she was gone to babysit or something like that. And I remember I was just laying there minding my own business, and 2 of their family members, they came in or whatever, and they drugged me off the couch by my feet and onto the kitchen floor, and they started fingering me. And my mouth was covered. Sorry. My mouth was covered, and I couldn't scream. And so my aunt, she ended up calling my mom or whatever, telling her, oh, well, Tamisha let this happen, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And so my mom was like, don't worry about it. When I get home, I'm going to take care of it. So when I got home, my mom gave me a choice. She was like, okay, so do you want your ass whooped before your favorite, your marathon? Because I love Rugrats at the time. You want your ass whooped before the marathon or after? And me kind of looking like, okay, which one? You know what I'm saying? Like, what difference is it going to make? She was just like, okay, I'm gonna wait until your marathon goes off. All I remember is I got the shit beat out of me with a belt, and I couldn't really like be mad at her. I was just kind of thinking like, I'm wrong. This is my fault. That's why it happened to stand a third. And so as I got older, I turned into somewhat of a rebel. And you know how I'm always talking about sex. I started becoming a rebel with like, I wasn't just having like sex. It got to a point where I was flashing other guys because they were like, oh, you're flat chested. You don't have no ass. I felt like I had something to prove. Not only that, I started becoming like, I wanted to have sex so bad. So I would sneak away from the house and just leave. And like anybody that was giving me attention that it wasn't coming from my mom, it wasn't coming from my dad, I wanted it. I wasn't having sex, but I was very promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted it. Everybody else was doing it. Why not me? And so finally, when I did finally start having sex at 17, it wasn't the response from my mom that I was expecting to be. It was more so on the lines of, you'll just fuck any and everything, move in this, that, and the third, and you just do this and do that. You do some of the dumbest shit, I swear to God, this, that, and the third. It wasn't never no emotional support. It was always, say for instance, when I told her I want to move out on my own because of an issue that was going on in the house. Oh, you gonna fall flat on your fucking face. You gonna have to come right back here with your dumb ass, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, doing just all the shit you could think of. So it's kind of turned me into like, okay, my mom was on drugs. Now my I'm not gonna say an addiction, but my preference is a backwood with hella weed in it to escape all of that. And I noticed, excuse me, I'm getting emotional. My daughter, she's autistic. I tell you that all the time. When she does something, the simplest thing will make me snap. And there I go, and it reminds me of my mom. Because I get the, oh my God, you get on my fucking nerves. And I just get so angry and inside. And then I find myself, I don't hate my mom, but I don't respect her. You know what I'm saying? I respect her to a certain extent, but who the fuck are you to tell me to be strong and do this and do that when you wasn't strong? You know what I'm saying? Like, she got with my stepdad, and it just became all about him. Then my dad, this motherfucker wouldn't even buy milk for me to have cereal when I was little because he didn't want my stepdad drinking it. And it was more so, what goes on in this house stays in this house. So that means ass whoopings, the drugs, the everything else that was going on, I dealt with it. Being the black sheep of the family. My granny couldn't stand me, still to this very day can't stand me. I really don't give a fuck. My family, it's always something with them. It's always, oh, Tamisha thinks she this, Tamisha thinks she's that, but nobody knew about me getting my ass beat multiple times, getting drugged by my fucking feet and all kind of stuff off. Like, come on now. Like, I couldn't find a plug one time when I got my ass beat. And my auntie Vicky, God rest her soul, had to get my mom off of me. And it's just like, I carry a lot of, it's not, no, fuck it, I'm gonna say it, it's hate. I have a lot of hate in my heart. So therefore, anybody that try to come near me, fuck you, I don't want your company. I don't want you coming near me. If I have sex, you better believe I know that motherfucker for a couple of years, or if not longer. But when it comes down to my daughter, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. But seeing that she has to deal with multiple shit, like what I have to deal with, it's not fair. And I'm not abusive toward her, but it's more so I get to, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody like that, but yes, I've gotten so mad that yes, I have choked my daughter before. And it fucks with me because now when she sees me, she kind of like, she flinches and all kind of stuff. And when people are like, oh, you're a great mom, but no, the fuck I'm not. Who chokes their own daughter? Who does that?
Listen, I'm Misha, real quick. A lot of people have done that. I'm sure of it. Like, a lot of people might have done that. Like, I don't think you were doing it to like try to kill her, but I'm just gonna say, I've seen a lot of people that you would think were like the nicest, calmest people do that to their kids. The only reason I'm gonna tell you something, Misha. The only reason I never hit my daughter, I'm gonna tell you why. My dad was crazy, right? Like, no matter what, he never hit us, neither did my mom. So that's why I never hit my child. You understand what I'm saying? And I yell at her, she cries and runs out the room. She's terrified. She's a Cancer, very sensitive person, just like your daughter, right? So that's why you also gotta understand Cancers, not only is she autistic, you're dealing with an autistic child, you're dealing with childhood traumas that you haven't healed yourself yet. So therefore, when you see stuff in your child, I believe it's triggering you to feel like when you were a kid and you wanted that attention and you're not able to provide her with that attention. And it's not because you want to be anything towards her. It's because you almost feel like you're being your mom again, right? So now, instead of doing what people say is the normal, who is making all that noise in the background? Whoever it is, I need you to leave the phone now because I feel like we're talking over it, and I want people to pay attention to what she's saying. Does anybody hear that? It's like am I the only here?
It could be the echoing from somebody's
I'm gonna
audio.
mute everybody.
Okay, all right. No, as long as you know everybody can get the message, because I want Misha to understand. I had to stop you there because I saw you going into the I'm a bad person mode, and I saw it in your face and your heart and your mind, and you're not. You are fucking dealing with this like a champion, number one. And let me tell you something. Smoking weed, let me tell you. Because I see that you struggle with that a lot. You're like the weed. But let me tell you something. If you feel like smoking weed is detrimental to your life or causing problems in your life, then it is an addiction now, okay? So like people have a drink or two during the weekends. Their lives not ruined. They have a drink, they go home, they're done for the week. If you feel like it's a problem for you, you're spending all your time, your money, only worried about that, and you feel like if you don't smoke, your day goes horrible. That's why I asked you all the time to just try to meditate and do all that. I know it sounds stupid, you guys. I get it. I get it. Because when I was like going through shit, I was like, meditate, bitch, get the fuck out of my face before I knock you out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll meditate, give me your face, I'll punch you and I'll feel better. Like, that's how I felt good, like about the anger and all that. And that's why I want you to understand. You're not a bad mom. Everybody's done something where they just like, you know, my daughter was in the bath one time and she was getting on my last nerve and I was like, shut the fuck up. And I like smacked her leg, right? But like, and that might be a big deal to people. Like, you smacked her leg, so what? I got beans growing up. Guess what? So did I, and it fucked me up. So thanks. No, not gonna work. Because I know getting beatings doesn't work for nobody. Because I know the more I got beat up, the worse I acted. So I'm just gonna tell you, when that happens, and we'll speak on this on our own terms. I'd love to like speak to you about this, but like I want you to understand something. Number one, you are doing the best job that you can. You're a single mother with an autistic child. That is not easy. Autistic children need 10 times more attention. They need 10 times more, you know, and they're very smart. That's the thing. People don't get that they're kind of geniuses, but their genius comes off to us as too much. But really, they just know so much more information. They're actually in tune with a whole nother dimension that we will never understand. There are most 99% of the people that are geniuses in this world have a form of autism, just so everybody knows that. Edgar Casey, a lot of them, right? So I'm just going to tell you, you are doing the best that you can. Do not ever feel bad. I'm a bad mother. I can't. It's not that. Everybody goes through something. So what I want you to do is what I do when, let's say, when somebody in my house gets on my nerves, right? Mm-hmm. I'll be like, she doesn't fucking understand. Like, I'll say it 100 times. You're not understanding. I don't want to get involved in that. I'm on another path. They don't get it. They don't get the spiritual shit. They look at my altar and think I'm a witch and this and that. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I'll stop. I'll leave that. I'll be like, hold on 1 second. I'll just say, hold on 1 second. Even my daughter, hold on 1 second. Because I know I'm about to snap out. So I go to the bathroom. I'll run the water. I'll look in the mirror. And I'll breathe. And I'll be like, all right, relax. Do not. Remember just relax, and I'll say like a prayer, whatever catches my eye. My favorite is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, because I can't change them depending on the circumstances. Stop when your daughter's bugging you out. Just say, hold on 1 second, please. Back away. Go in the bathroom. Be like, oh, I don't care. Do it. Something. I do it all the time. Then go back. What were you saying, Nan? You know what I'm saying? I swear it will change your life. If you just learn to walk away, even with your mom, when she gets on your nerves, walk away. Walk away. My mom used to follow me all the way to my room. And I'd be like, Mom, in 5 seconds, the whole house is going to be upside down. Either move out of my way right now or we're going to have a problem. Please, I'll come back to you and talk to you. You can yell at me all you want, just not right now. And she learned, she saw. They'll get your patterns. Once you're consistent. You're not a bad mom. You didn't do that. You're not fucking Mother May I from that movie, you know. No wire hangers in the closet. Like, you're not tying your child to a bed. She eats. She looks beautiful. She's always dressed. She's taken care of. You make mistakes. We make mistakes. It's not your fault. You went through something very traumatic growing up, Misha. That's a lot of shit to deal with, man.
And that's where, like, that's not to cut you off, Flo, but that's where, like, most of my, like, when I felt like I disappointed you, it fucked with me so bad in the inside. Like,
you didn't.
But first,
You didn't. I just want to clarify. You didn't disappoint me. I just know how you are. If somebody's like, "Oh, Misha," you're gonna be like, "Okay." I was like, "Don't do that. If you want to get better, you can't do that." Because it's not disappointment. It's me caring about you and saying, "This is how I need somebody to tell me." You can't be all nice because I won't listen. So go ahead.
Right, because like with my mom, it's always been like a back and forth, like, okay, underhand, backhanded ass compliment. It'll go from, you stupid motherfucker, I swear to God, you just like da-da-da-da, and yada, 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 and then like trying to block it out. I want to be like, look, bitch, but I can't because that's my mom. But then like at the same time, in the same breath, I have gotten to a point where my mom, one day we were in the car, and this was before she even knew about the domestic violence. We were in the car. We were dropping Genesis off. She was going to a Head Start. We were in the car, and I was trying to hurry up, fill out paper, come back to the car, give it to her, go back in, do this. It got to a point she started yelling at me, and it got to a point where she was like, you got me fucked up. I ain't one of your motherfucking friends. Da, da, da. And just like the way she was acting, it brought me right back to Lord have mercy, this is Brent Street all over again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then she kind of raised up at me like this, and she was like, bitch, I'll knock your motherfucking ass out. Like she was just getting at me.
Like a girl from the streets. Like
yeah. And like when I was trying to get out the car, she was like, you better sit your motherfucking ass back down and you better not motherfucking move. And I'm sitting there, I'm crying and crying and crying and crying. And then like afterwards, when we went like to get something to eat, something like that, suddenly, you want something to eat? Fuck you is how I'm feeling right now. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you. I'm thinking in my head, like I'm telling my sister, I'm like, fuck this bitch. That's not my mom. I hate this bitch. This, that, and the third.
We all go
Who
through
the fuck?
that.
I mean, I'm telling, my mouth can get real ruthless. And my sister, she used to tell me all the time, she was like, Tamisha, I understand you've been through this, you've been through that, or whatever, but at the same time, you know, you got to think about, and in my head, I'm stubborn. Fuck you once you cross me, number one. And two, I'm looking at my mom like, okay, I love you to death, but one thing you got to remember is I'm 31. I'm not fucking 5 years. I'm not 6. I'm not 10. I'm a whole ass grown ass woman. I'm fucking taking care of my daughter. I'm doing what I need to do. You can't tell me what I should and shouldn't be doing. And then she kills me with this whole, you let the dumbest shit bother you. And in my head, I want to be like, you've been stuck in a 20-something year relationship that you're not even fucking happy in, and you can't tell me to be strong about some shit.
So, I love you. That's why I'm gonna tell you something.
I love you too.
I'm gonna tell you something. This is why I'm gonna tell you. Oh, okay. Now, how I'm gonna go about it. Now, you know I'm about to go about this in a whole nother level, a whole nother way. Peaceful.
Yeah,
I have to come at you. I have to come at you peaceful and tell you, no matter what, you have to. Okay, so I know people are be like, shut the fuck out, this peaceful shit. But let me tell you something. If I was not the person I am today, you know how I handle shit. Ghetto, what's up, bitch? What are you gonna do about it? All that shit. I have comments coming from me, from my family that's like, bitch, you in this spiritual shit. Bitch, get the fuck out of here with that shit, right? And I could be like, fuck you, look at you, your life's fucked up. Look at your husband, look at your wife, look at your kids. I could do all that.
Right.
But the peaceful side of me, which knows it's the right side of me, goes, I'm going to forgive you because I know you are a very hurt person and you have not even began to examine life the way I have. Therefore, you are stuck in that prison mentality. They're in a prison. Do you understand that, right?
Right.
If you could see into their world, Misha, and you could look at your mom right now, you probably see bars over her face because she's still stuck in a prison. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So why not break that cycle now and stop getting locked up with the rest of your family? Break that cycle now and just be free so you can eat good foods instead of getting commissary or like picture. It's like a jail mentality and you got freedom mentality. A person in real life living in a jail mentality, they limit themselves to like, oh yeah, a 9-to-5 job is good for me. I don't mind having this much food in the fridge. A person who's out of jail and is free goes, no, there's more life than this. I can have that house. I can get that car. I can do this. I can be that person. Do you feel me?
Yes.
So you have to let that negativity from your mom. If anything, I would pray for her as much as I could. As much as I could.
Believe me, I'm on hands and knees every day. Say, please bless this lady. Like, I don't even call her sometimes, and that's a problem. But I get what you're saying because it's gotten to a point now when she be having that bullshit going on, I will quickly grab my earbuds and tune her ass out because I'm not going to do this with you, AJ. I'm not doing it.
Right,
That's how I look at it.
And don't, exactly. So like that, like I said, what I can tell you, Misha, is like, because I love you and I know you got it in you, that peacefulness. And sometimes we are a product of our environment, right? But here I want you to separate yourself from that because you have a child who is probably gifted. I would say most likely gifted, and is very sensitive and needs, picture yourself being her as a child and see yourself when you look at her and go, would I want to have somebody bigger than me come to me and talk to me like that? That's why when I speak to Eliana, you guys, I'm not the perfect mom, trust me. But when I speak to her. I can't talk to her from up here while she's down there, like blah, 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 because she gets scared to death. So I have to get on my knees and be like, Eliana, come here. I got to talk to you. So you're at their level. Just try to be more sensitive. And we're going to let somebody else talk, but I want you to know that releasing all that right now in front of all these people, it is so important for people to do that. Because when we are as sick as our secrets, everybody. We are as sick as our secrets. The more you hold in, the more you hold in your pain, the worse it is, you guys. So release it. Does anybody else want to go?
Thank you, Flo. I love you.
Thank you, Misha. I love you.
I love you too.
So work on that, Misha. Work on that. Can you work on that?
Yes, I will. I promise.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question? One more question. Sorry.
Yes.
Because I've dealt with a lot of people who've had that happen, and I think a big thing as well is that there is like this relationship that we think that we could have had with them, and I think sometimes that kind of hurts to still constantly think of that. And I heard something that said you have to mourn the potential relationship you could have had with your parent. And I just want to know how you feel about that, because I'm struggling with doing that as well.
Mourning the situation, like mourning, putting them to rest, basically putting it to rest, like basically like, okay, so I tell people if you want to get over an ex-boyfriend or whatever, right? So I don't picture the person dead. I picture the relationship, like you could imagine like a relationship being in a form of a ball. I put them in like a golden box, and then I bury it in the ground and say that was a lesson and things that. So can I explain it this way, so that it's this way you understand? So it's like, it sounds stupid and magical, whatever, but it's not, okay? Because I know, because it worked for me. So with my father, with relationships, all that, I see it as when I was born onto this earth, I had already been up there. I feel like there's like a team of people. They're all like raising their hands. Who's gonna go down and learn this lesson? Who's gonna go down and learn that lesson? And we raise our hands, and we go. And you go, and I go. I'll pick those parents. We pick them because we're like, they need to learn lessons from us, or we need to learn lessons from them. So we pick them before we come onto this earth in this body. Our spirit, it's so important to understand that our spirit chooses these people that we are in our lives right now. And that's why a lot of people separate from their parents, their brothers, their sisters, because they realize that. What is that noise? Okay, because they realize that this is our lessons, you guys. We come here to learn lessons and advance as human beings, you understand? So if you can look at it as a form of, I have to forgive my parents, I have to let go of that old stuff, that karmic stuff, because I was brought to them or they were brought to me. What lesson did I learn from it? And move forward. Burying the past doesn't mean you literally have to forget about it. So this one therapist that says this very vital thing that I love so much, that I think everybody could get a piece of this. When you look back at the past, it is very important to revisit it, but not to relive it. Do you understand what that means? When you revisit it, you go, that happened to me. Okay. When you relive it, you go, that happened to me. Oh my God, that was so painful. It's reliving it. You're reliving the trauma over and over and over again. So it's important to learn to separate the two, from reliving to revisiting. They are very important. So the thing is, when we talk about something, we talk about trauma. A healed person can, they're healed when they can start talking about it like they're not crying, they're not emotional about it, and they almost look like they don't care, but it's not that. They already cried all the tears they could cry out of it. If it still hurts you, still bothers you, you have to confront your emotions. The number one thing I get on the tarot deck, and then before everybody leaves here, I'm going to do a general reading for everyone and see who it resonates with. I'm going to do a reading and let's see whose eyes get caught on it, right? So I'm just going to let you guys know right now. In the tarot deck, it always comes out, confront your emotions. Because when we don't confront them, we hold on to them and we will never release those emotions. So whatever pain we're feeling, it is important to confront them, not to hold them in. That's not going to help you. If you're in a relationship today, for instance, so yes, I believe that is good, but like not to let it completely go and forget about it, because you're never going to forget about it. Always come at you. That's the answer to your question. But if you're in a relationship and something about that person bothers you, let's say they don't fucking pick up their socks when they come home, right? They just throw them on the floor. If you let this person continuously throw their socks on the floor and you don't tell them the first time, that bothers me, it's going to build up and build up and build up, and your whole relationship's gonna end over a motherfucker throwing his socks on the floor. So you're gonna have to say something at that moment, confronting everything at that right there and then. This is bothering me, don't do that again. And if you can't do it, you have to work with it yourself. You can't change everybody, like I said, okay? So who else wants to say something? Anybody else wants to talk about anything? You're more than welcome to. Hold on one second. Don't run away. Hold on. After these messages, we'll be right back.
I have a question for the whole group. Do anybody ever have like those flashbacks to where it feels like it's happening all over again, but like it feels like you can't get away from it because it's just constantly happening? Do you ever like get those? How do you deal with it, Vanessa?
I had seen several therapies with several different things, but one related back to me where when I have like a PTSD moment, basically, do something to get yourself like your own attention to ground yourself back is to like you can some people will dig their heels or move their feet like to get them kind of to snap you back out of that moment, like kind of like just rub on your shirt or
I've heard that. Like, I've heard like good people will hit their elbow 3 times or like, you know, things like that to distract you from what's going on at the present moment. I get that. Anybody who knows me or you come in these rooms all the time, you will know. I always have a bottle of ice water and I freeze the bottle. I have to. I just have to. Anyway, so okay, so
it pulls you back into the present moment instead of like having your mind like just wander backwards.
Right, exactly.
What you're doing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I get a flashback, I always feel like, oh shit, it's happening again, or like it'll have me down for like 2 days, but then I'll eventually like snap out of it. But it's weird though, because those same flashbacks, I be feeling crazy because it's like, okay, why am I still like going through this? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the part that irritates me because it's like it'll come and then it'll be there for like 2 days and then it'll leave and then I'll feel like kind of crazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense. So everybody knows that when we ignore things at that present moment, it comes back to smack us in the face. That's why it's good to, even if you gotta call anybody and just talk about what you're feeling at that moment, it will be so vital to your health, man. It will be. Anybody out here who's going through something at that moment, talk about it right there on the spot. Don't hold it. Don't file it away. This is not you know, your birth certificate to go put it in the closet and take it out when you need it. You have to put that shit in the beginning of the file, look at it, and let that shit go, man, because it will come back to you. I promise you it will. It will. And it comes back to some of us worse than others. Some of us, it comes back in a form of we become destructive. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever done this, but when you actually have a good relationship or a good friendship or something like that, you destroy it before it even starts. Did anybody ever do that before?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if everybody has that, but I've had that several times where I've destroyed relationships before they even started. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, it's sad because a lot of those people, they were good people, but I just was like, get the fuck away from me. Like I would do anything to ruin it before it happened. So
self-sabotage.
Yeah, so exactly. That's self-sabotage. Good night, baby.
For me, is anybody talking?
Go
ahead.
I know for me, Misha, that question, like, that resonates with me a lot. Because the past month, it's been on a case of 2 to 3 times where it's almost like I've had a good night's sleep and like literally 5 minutes before I wake up, I have this dream that I cannot wake up from. And it's usually of my mother, because about the story I was telling earlier, when I caught that STD, she basically found out. She basically went to my phone and found out everything. So she started being extremely abusive, and I just want to be like extremely transparent here to the point where like I did start self-harming myself and cutting myself.
Yeah.
And so I get really upset about those interactions that I have with my dreams, but I tell myself that I'm going to get closure some type of way. not soon, but I know before I pass over, I'm gonna get that closure from her in any form. And I think it's funny that you were telling the story, Misha, about how your mom went off on you in the car and she asked you, did you want something to eat? I feel like in the Black community, that literally is the mom's way of saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because my dad used to do it all the time. And I just had to look back and just, one thing I did do, and I don't know if this would be a good idea for anybody else, but I wrote a note to my younger self.
Oh, that's a great idea. Tell them, speak it.
Yeah, and I almost coached them through how to deal with certain situations. And even me knowing that some type of way I can help people, and even you having to deal with that situation, you knowing and being able to detect the first time that you put your hands on your child, you knowing that was wrong. And I even believe there's a part in you that's like, you'll never do that again.
That's right.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The part of like, I'll never do it again, it's happened like twice. And the reason why it happened was because, one, it's not an excuse and it's not okay. The fact that, like Flo said, it's just me and my daughter. In this apartment, it's just me and her. So whenever she's going through her tantrum, or she's wanting to cry all day long, or she just, doing something that she knows she's not supposed to be doing, and I get to that boiling point, that's when I snap. But then afterwards, immediately, I feel like, oh my God, why did you just do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you already had this happen to you, so why do it to your daughter? But then at the same time, I be so enraged, it don't always click that I just really could have hurt my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part right there that I struggle with, because like, I remember those days of, my mom being a straight up asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like, you doing this, you doing that, blah, blah. And when all I want to do was play with my goddamn doy house. You go, girl, dollhouse, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's doy house. Shut up, Flo. Yo, that's why I had to catch myself like, fuck the doy house. Y'all know I got issues, but it's like,
I needed to laugh.
At the same time, I'm not proud of, oh my God, you just literally choked out your daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like a bully. You know what I'm saying? So I try to.
Misha, you know how? Okay, so you want to know how you know you're a good person?
What's up?
You want to know how? Because after it happens, most people won't feel bad. They'll just be like, I did it. Oh well, I don't give a fuck, right? And they think just going, I'm sorry, is okay. You examine it, you know that it's wrong. But you might not see that as examination, but you're examining. So what he said about the writing a letter, you guys, I want Misha to do, because I want you to write a letter to your mom. You don't have to give it to her.
Okay.
You don't have to give it to her. Look, I'm gonna show you something. This is my altar. Whatever. I got shit that I collect, whatever I put there, whatever I want, candles. And then I got a letter under my altar that forgives any and anyone who's ever harmed me. It's a 2-page letter. I keep it under there so that they know, no matter what, I forgive you, so they can read it at any time. Now, your mom might not be able to read it in body, but in spirit, she'll read it every day. Do you understand? So it's like remembering that you wrote that letter to her. Whatever you're feeling, write it in the letter.
Okay.
And imagine yourself that you're giving it to her. Imagination is great for when you're healing, you guys. Use your imagination. If we can use it to get other things done, it's very great for healing. So what you want to do is imagine yourself giving the letter to her and moving forward. Do you understand? So that this way you can heal from it. You can heal from it. Bessa, is that your mom? What's wrong with her hand? She's in pain? I got to come massage you.
She made locumes, so with dough and shit, she gets tired, so you gotta massage her a little bit. Just for making, you start, you got it. You gotta do a little.
I love you guys. I just massaged my mom's feet last night. I love them. I grew up with them.
Two fingers. Well, it's like a discount because I only got 3 to worry about. The other 2 are just halves.
That's a cheating finger.
Would it work if I wrote it in my phone?
Initially, I'm going to tell you, Misha, why it's important to write it by hand. This is why. For some reason, when you write in your hand, your phone, you go fast and you're not thinking. When you write it to a hand, you're like, oh, you got to stop, and it takes longer, so you examine your pain more. So I want you to really do the self-examination through writing it, because that letter took me a long time to write, because I wanted to make sure what I wrote. And also I do this too. If I'm feeling negative energies or emotions or something, I do write them down as well. I write out paper and I'll burn it. I'll go outside and burn it, and I imagine the universe is taking all that pain from me. Imagination is key for healing, you guys. So people will say it's stupid, but to have a great imagination will get you so far when it comes to the healing, because your mind plays tricks on you. So play tricks back at it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If your mind wants to trick you into thinking that you're hurt, you're harmed, you're this, trick your mind into believing, and your body does what your mind says. Remember what I said, if you wake up in the morning saying I'm tired, the whole day you're tired. Right. If you wake up in the morning saying, it's a mind game all the time. So that's why I say, even for me, for anybody, even for the most successful people, they still do therapy. You know why? Because they know that working on yourself never ends. Why do Buddhists commit their whole lives, or Muslims to their whole lives to praying and meditating? Because it never ends. It never ends. It's self-examination will never end. It is always a new beginning. Remember, new cycles, new cycles, cycles. And for all of you in here that are in the room, this is the new moon in Taurus, right? So a lot of people, this is the new moon in Taurus. So it's Taurus season. A lot of people use this time to feel flexy and lazy, right? So you're going to be lazy. You're going to feel sexy. I see. I'm telling you, you're going to feel lazy a little bit. You're going to feel a little sexy, but also it's a very stubborn energy time. As far as people are very stubborn, so if you find yourself being stubborn at this time, the moon isn't stubborn, and Venus is in retrograde. So anything that has to do with love, emotions, it feels like you have to examine things from back. Retrograde is always like picture retrograde being rewinding. Like backwards. So Venus, anything that has to do with love, the emotions, the heart chakra right now, you'll feel like you're just going backwards and backwards. But let this time pass. Let this new moon cycle end. Every new moon, every cycle is a new beginning. But you have to bury the old, begin with the new. Like all the old, when we're empathic people, everyone in here, I know some form of empathy, sensitivity, some type of psychic. All of us have something in of us. And I can see it through everybody because of the way you react to things, the same way I almost do. So I'm going to tell you right now, when you are that way, the shift of the moon will affect you. If it can affect water, and we're 90% water, what do you think happens to us when the moon is full and the waves are going? That's what our body is, a body of waves and ups and downs and ins and outs. Yep. Sometimes the tide is high, sometimes the tide is low. It's like up and down, you guys, up and down. But that's why we have to continuously work on those factors. And just like he said, which I will never forget and I love, because as much as I said explore your shadow side, I don't think I ever said I want to hug my shadows. So now imagining yourself hugging those shadows, those dark sides. Nisha, imagine yourself being a kid again and your mom saying I'm sorry to you. So this way it'll help you with the forgiveness aspect of it. Because there's just a lot, because like I just had an incident with my sister. Me and her tend to like go back and forth, like, I don't know, maybe somebody needs to hear this, but like she was trying to convince me to do something as far as career wise that she thought was a good idea because I'd make fast money and it'd be quick. And I just wasn't agreeing with it. I'm like, listen, I'm on some other shit. I can't be doing that. I don't want to represent that. I'm trying to live my life the right way, blah, blah, blah. She wasn't getting it. So it was back and forth. But instead of me going, get the fuck out of my face and flipping, I just let her talk. Came upstairs and just said, you know what, just let it go. And you know what she ended up doing? She ended up texting me, you're right, though. You are representing like healing and stuff. I don't want to bring that to you. You were right. I'm sorry I argued with you. I get it. Keep doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So let people process their own emotions before you're like, bitch, process your emotions. You don't know what you're doing. What did she say, Natasha? Say that, Natasha? Let Natasha say it.
And if y'all had ever done the Cash Their Worries Away activity.
No, tell us.
Okay, so it's an activity where you write all of your worries down on a piece of paper and you just discard of them. Either you burn them, you throw them in the lake.
I just said I do that a lot. So I want everybody to do that too. You do that too? Do you do it?
I do.
What does it feel like? Tell everybody what you feel like after, because I'm sure they know what I feel like. What do you feel like?
honestly, I found myself having to repeat the activity a couple of times. But more recently, whatever I did in the last activity, I'm seeing that I'm not doing it now.
Okay.
Right.
It's
I
kind of like,
recommend doing it on the full moon.
Oh, so you guys, hold up, wait a minute, Sobo. Okay, boo. Okay, guys. Okay. All right, guys. Sobo is he's like, I think, because I always ask spirits to like help me out here, because you can't do everything yourself, right? So they'll like put little things in people that I need to be running with. Do you guys want to do a full moon ritual with me, where we are going to let go of the old cycles and usher in the new?
Absolutely.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. It's gonna have to be 12 a.m. at nighttime. So I know you motherfuckers are up. Stop playing. So stay up. Stay up. I know you are up anyway on Instagram. Check it. Let me see which one I could post that's better. So now we're gonna do it on the full moon. Soba and me will connect with that, and we'll let each other know when the full moon is. And what we'll do is, I'm going to get the whole altar ritual thing set up. Like, I'm going to set that whole shit up. I'm going to light candles all around us. We could sit down, and we're going to meditate the old energies out and into the new. Everybody's down with that?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's like May
Natasha,
7th
you
through
down with
9th.
that?
yes, ma'am.
All right,
I think
cool.
it's like
And you,
May
Crystal?
7th through 9th.
Yep. Yes, I am.
Maria?
Yeah, I'm down.
Marianne, yes?
Yes.
Something is going on.
Show with your right hair in that picture. I love it.
Hey, girl.
Is that a sunflower?
My food looks so good.
I was gonna say, oh my God, what's that? Okay, Maria.
That's
I
why,
love
like,
sunflowers.
I'm
Sunflowers
like
are my favorite.
hiding, but she cooked for me, and I feel bad. I'm like, shit.
Look at him. Look at her. It is.
Yo, man.
It is. What was that?
So far, you said a letter to my mom, and what else did you want me to do?
Write a letter to your mom, and I want you to also write down things that, like, the letter to your mom is separate, but I want you to write down the things that are affecting you the most, like your internal, like, things that you don't like about yourself, and burn them up. You know what I'm saying? Just burn them up. Do it in a safe place, please. Don't start a fire.
You know what, Flo? You know I'm crazy. You know that cancer shit. Shit been got blew up by accident. Like, yeah.
Bitch, I don't play with cancer, man. Let me tell you, one of my girlfriends, she was a cancer. She was a cancer. Let me tell you, this bitch, if she didn't get her way, all hell broke loose. I was like, my daughter's a cancer, bro. If she don't get her way, Lorianne, you're laughing, but if she don't get her
Yep,
way,
it's the truth.
I'm like, oh my God, somebody else did that. But you know, like, I learned to deal with her. You see, like, and it's not even dealing with her. I learned with my child. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys. So everybody, like, you know, I just want you guys to know one thing about me. One thing, no matter what I did in life, I always made sure if I wasn't able to be there because I was doing something bad or I was out partying, whatever, I always had my mom watch my daughter. I never trusted nobody with my daughter, you know, just my mom and her father. That's it, nobody else. But one thing I'm gonna tell you is when she was born and she was growing up, I had an issue with motherhood. Now I'm gonna tell you why. I discovered, I had a revelation, you guys. I was gonna tell you, I'll share with you, because you guys know I think out the box. I'm cosmic with my shit. I know in a past life, most recent life, I was a man, definitely a man. So I came back into this. Okay, yeah, I was in a man's body. So what happens? I came back, and my spirit is a man because I'm seven masculines, 3 feminines. I have 7 masculine in my chart, 3 feminines, right? Which is why I tend to be so androgynous. I'm like, I could be like a man, I could be like a woman. I'm both, you know what I mean? But I know for a fact that my spirit has to be masculine. It has to be a masculine spirit. Not saying a man, because in spirit world, men and women don't exist. It's masculinity and femininity. But my masculine is higher than my feminine side. So now I'm here in a woman's body, and I'm super confused. No wonder why for so long I was like, pregnancy felt funny to me. Being a woman was weird. I didn't like having sex with guys. I was like, ew, don't touch me. I felt like a straight guy having sex with a gay man. And I was like, this is not you know. But I'm telling you, for the first like 3 years, I lost my virginity. I was 21. For the first 3 years of my sex life, I remember it feeling very uncomfortable for me, very uncomfortable, because I was getting used to my body. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my spirit is a man, so I'm here as a woman. That's why I've been so uncomfortable with myself for my whole fucking life. I get it. I always want to control. I want to be the powerful one. You know. It was. Listen, I discovered something about myself. Everybody discovers something about themselves. You know. some of us, I think most men that are here, they're right now. If you look at your birth chart, I guarantee you have more feminine in your chart than you do masculine. And so people are like, it's not about the body, people. My spirit is a woman, and I got trapped in this fucking thing. Like, what the fuck? There's a penis with balls on it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? And that's why transgenders and stuff say, I feel uncomfortable in my body. It's not their body they're uncomfortable, it's their spirit's not ready for that body yet. They're like, what the fuck? Like, I know I wasn't this before. So understand, we all go through the struggles, and that's why people always say, oh, spirituality. Yeah, if you look at your birth chart and you look at this and you see why you think astrology is the oldest science in the book, because it explains so much about us. It actually tells us our life path. Does anybody know their life path number in here?
Yes.
What is everybody's life path number?
I'm a 3.
I'm a 3.
I don't know mine.
How do you find that out?
I don't know mine.
I'm a 3. I'm a 3 too. Okay.
I'm a 3. I know how to find it.
How do you find it?
Yeah, how do you find that?
There's websites. I'll find one and I'll send it to you guys all later.
Oh, no. But listen, guys. Cafe Astrology. CafeAstrology.com. You can put in your birthday, blah, blah, blah. It'll tell you your birth chart and stuff in order. And then as well, if you want to find out your life path number, this is how you find it out. You add, my birthday is 9/1/1982. I add 09, which is 9. 1 plus 8 plus, so it's like you add.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Everybody got a pen and paper. Come on.
Hold on.
Pen and paper, please. Just a piece of paper in hand. Okay.
Today's the 24th, right? Or the 25th?
26.
26.
Damn, Robin. 1 second.
26.
Oh, shit. Thank y'all.
Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Look here. Now I wrote, my birthday is 9. Write the number. Your first day of birth. Like, let's say your birthday is 08, right? 08, right? And then it's 01 or 212, whatever it is, right? So mine is 09. I got 09 up here, 01 on bottom, and 1982 at the end. See, watch. You see how I got it? Look.
No, I
like
get
it. To add it.
My dumb ass. 1 second.
There's the website. To add it, right? So watch. Yeah.
Okay, so you said 07 on the top and then 03 on the bottom, and then the year we were born?
Yeah.
The full year.
Yeah, the full year.
Okay, thank you.
The full year like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to add those numbers. So let's say you add it like this, like 9, 1, and then 2, right? So 9, 10, that's 12, right? And then 8, 9, right? And 9, then when mine comes out to 1992, right? So add that up.
I'm 29.
Okay, so then add up 1992, so 18, 19, 20, 21. Mine comes out to 21. 21, then 2 plus 1 equals 3. And that's how you find your life path number.
Wait, I missed that.
So you're going to add all those, right? And they're going to come out to whatever mine came out to 1992. Then I add 199 plus 2. That comes out to 21. That comes out to 21, right? So that's the whatever your date of birth, your year and your month came out to. You add those numbers up together.
Right.
What do you get for that? What do you get for
1994.
What did you get? No,
1994 I got.
Okay, so you got 1994. So yours is because I'm a little stupid with math. Hold on. 199. Okay, so 18. So 9 plus 9 is 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So you add 2 plus 3. Your life path number is 5.
Wow.
You see that? So she added the 1994. That came out to 24. 21, and then you add, that came out to whatever, it's 2 plus 3 equals 5. So whatever that was, you add 1994, whatever yours came out to, and then you add those two numbers. Anybody got it? Everybody got it?
We add what two numbers?
Okay. So, okay, who's that? Maria?
Me, Gabby.
Gabby.
I'm what, 1999 it came out to.
Yeah, yours came out to 1999. Okay, 199, 1999, 18, 19, 20, 21, 27, right? Okay, 27, 28. Yours is 28, right? 2 plus 8 equals 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So your life path number is 1. See that?
Yeah.
So whatever the answer is, what'd yours come out, Tanisha? What's your date of birth?
0703.
Okay.
1988.
I got you right now. Hold on. 1980.
We're a couple days apart. On the 5th.
You should be a 9.
Okay, so yours came out to 1990, right? 1990. So 18, 19. So yours is 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. So your life path number is 1. Yours is 1.
Cool.
Okay, so anybody else? Anybody else?
Do this right? What about mine?
Let me see. Go ahead. Go ahead, Maria. What's yours?
12/11, 1986.
Okay. 1986, 12, 11. Okay. 9, 10, 10, 2. So yours came out to 2009, right? So yours is 2. Look at that. We got 1, 2, 3 so far. What about you, Natasha? Is that yours yet? What is it? 2. Oh my God, you guys! Everybody's 1, 2, or 3. That's weird.
I'm 7.
I'm 7.
I'm 7. I got
I'm
5, y'all.
Gina, what's
I'm
yours?
a 3.
No, mine's 7/24/98.
1998, 7,
Yeah.
7, 24. Okay, hold on. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 10, 11, 12, 10, 2, 20, 29, 11, 12, 13. Oh, yours is 4. Holy shit. Don't tell me somebody's 5 and 6 in here. I'm going to flip out.
I am 5.
There's a 5. She's 5.
There's a 5. There's a 5.
She's 5.
I'm 5.
Is anybody a 6? Is anybody a 6?
Everybody.
I got everybody? That's Yari, what's yours?
I'm 1.
Vanessa? 3. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, me too. 3. What about you, Kayla?
7.
Oh, shit. 7's one of my favorite numbers. What about you, JP?
Oh, good shit.
7.
What about you, Drake?
I'm a 3.
Oh, my God. Sadie, what's yours? 3?
Yeah.
Yo, bro, I can't.
Wait, what is the life path? What do they indicate? What is
now? Hold on. Let's. So we're on here. So nobody's. Does anybody else have anything else to say? Are we chilling? Are we good? Or what's going on?
Chilling. I'm good.
Does everybody feel like? I'm sorry, but Drake, everybody. Does everybody feel like they got something out? Okay, because I don't want to leave.
I wanted to show. I wanted to show you guys, like anybody that was struggling to get this book.
Go ahead, show us.
1 second, let me find you.
Let me pin you.
Go back again. The 5th element went.
The fifth agreement.
Oh, 5th agreement. By who?
It's by
right,
Janet Mills.
All right, cool. That's a good book, guys. Janet Mills, The 5th Agreement, okay? Now, let's do the life path, since some people may be watching this, and I just showed everybody how to do their life path number. Everybody who's got the life path number 3, right? So we have, whatever you have next, I'll tell you next. Okay, so life path number 3, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Contains the gifts of words, attraction, sociability, creativity, optimism, memory, friendship, and humor. Take yourself and your 3 energy seriously, because what the world needs more than anything right now is a serious dose of 3's optimism, beauty, creativity, and laughter. Okay, what's next?
1.
Okay, 1. Life path 1. And I always go to this one website I'll tell you guys about. Okay, life path number 1, also known as the destiny number. Ooh, destiny number. Okay, is the number that results from the Yeah, okay, whatever. Life path number 1 is that you're a hard worker, a passionate leader, and at the same time, a creative and artistic soul. Ooh.
Oh,
Okay, we got next is 5, right?
Yep.
Life path 5. Okay, life path 5 is one of resourcefulness, discovery, choice, change, freedom, and the physical aspect of life. You must learn by trial and error about your own physical presence and the essence your presence has on others. Wow, the effect listen to this shit. Really listen to it. Life path 5s. Okay, it is one of resourcefulness, which means you could do pretty much anything. Discovery. What the hell is that?
I think it's Felicia's dog.
Okay. Discovery, choice, change, freedom, and the physical aspects of life, meaning your spirit trying to get used to your physical. You must learn by trial and error about your own physical presence and the effect your presence has on others. So you're about learning a lot of lessons, life path number 5. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We got 7, right?
Yep.
Can you do 4?
Yes, I can. Okay, life path number 4 I always get this number, is the number of stability, like the 4 corners of the square, the 4 traditional elements, the 4 seasons, or the 4 wheels of anything. The destiny number 4 has a highly practical and down-to-earth approach about life, rarely given to flights of fancy or desire for the unattainable. Wow, so it's like earth energy, like grounded, stability, knowing what you want and getting it, right? It's good. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. 7.
That's me.
That's beautiful. You see, and I'll tell you, look into these things, and they will tell you so
What
much
about
about
2?
I'll tell you right
You
now.
said 2?
Hold on. Number 7. Let me do 7 because I was on that right.
Okay,
now.
7.
I'll do 2.
I missed all of that.
Oh wow! And this is a highly spiritual number. Life path number 7 is taking you on an extraordinary journey in which your quest for knowledge is the main factor behind anything and everything that happens to you. You are the reality seeker who will accept nothing but the truth. Wow.
That's true.
That's pretty gangster.
Oh yeah, that is.
Okay, life path 2. All right. Okay, and life path 2 number represents partnerships, relationships, and harmony. If your life path number is 2, you are a seeker after peace and harmony with a fantastic sensitivity to other people and a desire to build the strongest relationships possible.
Oh, cool.
Wow. All right, guys, listen.
So we're all connected.
We're all connected. Everybody, and I'm telling you, that's why God brings, the Spirit and God, angels, they bring us together for a reason, right? So you guys, I want to do live readings on Instagram. I'm going to do them at 9:30. If you guys want to join, I'll do every sign there so you can get your signs in. And since we're connected, your messages will come through for you. But I'm going to go take a rest for a little bit, relax, and then meditate and get ready for the reading. So if you guys join the Instagram, I'm going to do everybody's sign individually, okay?
I'll be there.
Okay, we love you.
I love you guys.
Love you guys. Love you guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all.
Bye. Nice meeting you guys.
I'm very grateful for everybody. I'm very grateful. Thank you guys all for being in here. I love you guys all.
Thank you for everyone's story too.
I know,
I
yeah,
love
for real.
God
It's gonna help a lot of
everyone.
people. A lot of people will get help through this. I'm very grateful to you guys. Okay, I love you guys. All right, I'll see you at all right, I'll come, and then you guys keep coming back in here, and make sure you always tag Angel Squad and represent yourself. It's not about me. You don't have to say nothing about me. Just say I'm an angel because I do the deeds and I'm helping myself. That's it. It's not about me. You don't gotta say shit about Flo. Say all about yourself, okay?
Okay.
All right, I love you guys. I'll see you on Instagram Live if you go on, okay?
I love you.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Sadie, try to upload this and post it. I love you, okay?
I love you too. Bye, guys. Everybody. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.